Welcome back, and we're still in the sky. Get your head
off the clouds.
Alright, let's continue.
Let's hope that Mario doesn't spend too much time hanging on to the past, that he forgets to hang on to something.
Don't worry, he's hanging on to the other side.
Mario.
He's fine.
Yes, and he won't give up till the end of him.
Exactly.
He's what you get when the stars collide.
Indeed. And that's it. Yeah. Small levels, aren't they?
That's a little too short.
Really
What happened? Was that like a really slow day at the office?
See, the thing is, Dej, the slow-paced way that I play Mario games, if anything, really fits for this game, because if I used the run button all the time, this playthrough would probably be even shorter than it is. So
I'm just gonna say this. I feel like World got a better balance with level length.
Yeah. You can tell that they were experimenting with the format. Okay, what if we try a longer game, but with smaller bite-sized levels? You can tell they were experimenting and see, okay, let's try them. Maybe we can elongate the play time by trying this. But of course, like Jova said, they perfected this with World.
I will say this, despite some of this game's shortcomings, I do still like it better than the first one.
Oh, definitely. No, well, Java, like, I'm pretty sure everybody agrees that this is the best Mario game of the NES. I mean,
man, despite its shortcomings, I prefer Sonic 3 and K.
I think I mentioned it in the first part. I agree on a gameplay standpoint, but not necessarily on an aesthetic one.
Oh, sure, but gameplay is the most important thing in a Mario game, so obviously that alone gives it the that alone gives it the victory.
That alone gives it the fuck.
No, that was my bad. That was my bad. Remember, you have to press the jump button with the correct timing, so that was my bad.
Timing, nonetheless.
Well, Tail, how about this? In the final part, I'm going to show off both the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance version, so you'll be able to see for yourself if the aesthetics were definitely more to your liking in those versions, hopefully.
Sure.
Because basically the Super Nintendo port, of which the GBA port was based on, the Super Nintendo All-Stars port fixed Fire Mario, thank God.
In general, they uniform all of it to make it look like the Mario World sprites.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same reason why I'm not particularly fond of Sonic 3 and Knuckles Sonic sprite, because it's supposed to represent the character growing, but it looks different enough from Sonic 1 and 2 to feel too inconsistent to me.
It's definitely trained for a different type of design.
Since I just chalk it up to Sonic getting older, although apparently also a bit chubbier. Goddamn.
Fortunately, Tail, this is a Sonic game, so the Sonic fanbase, as you covered, because there's modifications you can make to create a Sonic 2 sprite that is Sonic Free-ified.
You mentioned that or show that in our Sonic 3 Complete run.
Yeah, basically you can create. Basically, the fans have created like something where they take the Sonic 2 sprite and they apply the Sonic Free aesthetic to it, so that you can still keep the art direction of Free while still preserving Sonic's basic look from the first two games.
Wasn't the Sonic 2 sprite essentially the same as the Sonic 1 sprite?
Well, if you actually compare the two side by side, Jovi, you'll notice that there's some differences. The Sonic 2 Sonic is slightly taller. The color is also lighter. There's also, if you compare them side by side, you'll notice that it's actually different.
Screw you, Lakitu.
Yep.
There we go.
That is true too, but at the same, when it comes to the All-Stars uniforming, that being said, I will say that I kind of think they went a bit over. Okay, I understand that the aesthetics of this game are not going to be everybody's cup of tea. However, I think they went a bit overboard with it by making every game in All-Stars look basically the same art direction-wise. I feel like they start to look a bit too samey to me. I feel like we could have tried to reach a good balance where we can try to preserve somewhat what the art director of the NES version was going for, while at the same time fixing problems rather than just completely abandoning the unique aesthetic that this game was trying to do. I feel like
I feel like that's kind of what World was setting out to do. Again, I honestly feel like World is the culmination of the classic 2D Mario series up to the point of its release, of course. Like, I feel like what it does is combine, you know, us actually getting a full look at Mario's face, since, you know, again, going back to, like, the original Mario Brothers, you didn't actually get to properly see Mario's face when you thought about it. The first time we would actually see that proper would be Super Mario Brothers 2, the American version.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the first time, you know, in the Japanese release stuff that his face would be shown. World, I feel, combines all the aspects. It rounds things out so that he has more so the proportions that he had in, say, Mario 1, but it gives him more of the facial structure kind of like he has here. So I wouldn't say the aesthetics in this game were outright abandoned, just evolved.
Boom, boom. Oh, there you are.
Where you go?
Yeah.
Screen.
Yeah, he went off
Is
screen.
this because the cheats are messing with something?
No. Sometimes it happens, but as you can see, he comes back anyway, so it's fine.
You know, so I know that's supposed to be his wings, but I thought that his hands transformed into wings.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Oh no, honestly, Joe, what you said at the time of its release, I will argue Mario World is still the pinnacle of the 2D Mario series, to be honest with you.
I can get where you're going.
Don't get me wrong, I can enjoy the new games, and by that I mean the new Super Mario Bros. Games, so fine enough for the most part. But yeah, compared to World, no, they really like I said, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What 2D Mario needs is to be given the Wireland Shake Dimension treatment.
Elaborate.
He just wants every 2D game to be hand drawn, like Cuphead and Wario Land and
well,
Shake It and
again, the main reason I do that is because if you're going to make a 2D game, use an art style that can that the 2D game can take advantage of, because you can't do hand-drawn. You can do that kind of Cuphead style graphics in a 3D platform, because if it's a 3D, obviously you need to render 3D models. But in a 2D game,
about Pedro, Time and Eternity clearly showed that you can render nice, crisp 2D art into a 3D game.
Sure, of course, and it looks horrible. It doesn't even look like the characters are even there.
Would you, if they couldn't do that, would you prefer them doing the Rayman Origins thing?
Yeah, that's another example. Yeah, that's another example. Do the Rayman Origins thing, oh, there you go. If you collect all the same cards, you get this big star. There you go, and we got 5 1-ups.
There we go.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way, Dej. Compared to the basic, boring look of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, imagine a Mario game that looks just like the old animes, but with higher quality animation. Wouldn't that be cool?
But I feel like new Super Mario Bros. Issues are just it's aesthetic, rather that because they're not taking.
They're not taking advantage of the hardware.
I think I can build off of
like something like Tropical Freeze and the 2D Kirby games.
Yeah.
I think
This new Super Mario Brothers just looks homogenized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can build off of what Dej is saying. It's not like we need to completely change the art style, but let them do. Huh?
Let Jello finish. Go on, Jello.
Not hand drawn. I feel like it just needs a fully art style.
That's kind of where I was getting at. Still have Mario like his 3D renders and whatnot, like he does in the games, to help, it feel in line with the series, but maybe have us go to some different areas and whatnot, or at the very least, not just have it blatantly be the exact same guys as the previous new Super Mario Brothers games. That's the main issue, because, look at something like Tropical Freeze. That technically does use a similar aesthetic to the previous DK games, but it has different archetypes in the levels and whatnot, and, has enough of a differencing. That being said, I do hope that they bring back the Kremlings in a future DK game.
Same.
Especially since now they were made re-popular thanks to Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I think, on a similar note, I find it kinda slightly hilarious that, despite modern platformers, 2D platformers, having that the one level aesthetic of the contrast level, as in everything in the background is like red or something, and the foreground or the character model is everything silhouetted black. You know, I don't think the Mario 2D game, modern Mario 2D games, ever had one.
That's a good point.
Elaborate.
Like, remember, Donkey Kong Country Returns has one, Rayman Origins has one, DuckTales Remember
Oh, okay.
has one.
No. He's talking about the whole thing about the shadowy levels, like
It
was
was
it?
a bit of a silhouette, an aesthetic.
Remember
of it.
Limbo? That.
Yeah, that's true. There's
And I
the
find it
one.
kind of interesting that instead of Mario, the quintessential platformer, never had one in its modern games.
No.
Well,
3D
no,
World
hold on. 3D World had it.
That one?
Well, the 3D
Yeah.
World is a 3D game, though. Like I think he was talking about 2D games. I think.
Yeah.
No, he said a modern game though.
Oh,
in that regard.
modern 2D games, like say the new Super Mario Bros.
Yeah. But in 3D World's defense, it was in a 2D section.
True.
Okay.
True. That being said,
Kind of like how Lost World had that as well.
yeah.
Bowser, you think maybe you should invest in some more accurate guns that aren't just slow moving?
Yeah, like that Dorothy Speed.
Literally, all of his children are dead as a result of those shoddy guns.
They're not dead. They always come back. A million fucking times.
Maybe we should have a ROM hack of a Mario game that talks about
I'm still-
Bowser makes a deal with the devil, like what happened with
To this day, I still don't understand what is up with Bowser Jr. That Bowser abandoned the Koopalings and Bowser Jr. is his favorite.
Okay. To be fair, that was just a weird stint where they went off of it. It now seems to be that the Koopalings are adopted kids, whereas Bowser Jr. is the biological son. But at least they're not going on that stupid tangent of, oh, the Koopalings were only henchmen, which, yeah, no, that bit was stupid. It seems that Nintendo lately have gone back on some of their weird, stubborn decisions with the Mario lore and have caved to more common sense stuff.
Indeed.
Which is nice.
It probably helps
Yeah, and I
with...
still,
Sorry, go on.
I do like how also they were willing to acknowledge some of the ideas that the movie brought up and run with that. Okay then, Iceland.
Yes,
Snowland.
Iceland. Welcome to... Gee, I wonder what's going... And yes, an Iceland. You know what that means?
You know what? I'll give him
Thunder.
credit. Something about the overworld theme does scream ice. So, again, kudos to the composer.
Well, this is Koji Kondo we're talking about, Joe, but the grandfather of video game music. I mean, this is the guy who composed the original Super Mario Brothers theme, for crying out loud. When you think video game music, the first name that comes to your mind, of course, would be Koji Kondo. I mean, not that there wasn't video game music before him, but he's the one that definitely turned video game music into an art form.
Even in general, I argue that the NES still pioneered it in a more normalized kind of way, because the Atari did not really had space for actually having that much music in them.
Well,
Like,
computers...
At best, it would have something resembling a bit, like for example the Indiana Jones Atari 2600 game, which has a bit of a callback to its main theme. That's kind of it.
I guess if you're talking about specifically consoles, yes, Table, but if you're talking about arcades and
Arcade,
home
obviously,
computers...
and stuff like the Commodore 64, obviously.
Yeah.
But those had a bit more, power of a processor for that. So
Yeah, sure. Like for example, in 1981, of course, the original Donkey Kong, which had the but yeah, when it comes to home consoles, then definitely the NES was the one that truly properly created some really top-notch tunes. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, both clouds and ice. Great. Gotta love ice physics.
Honestly, again, I don't think ice physics are inherently bad, and I feel like this game uses
Oh,
them
You
fine.
say that.
Oh, they're not bad. They're not bad. It's just that they annoy me.
I found it particularly egregious because I discovered this literally the other day. It's something I did not notice by looking up at, for example, lore videos. Of all the despite it being part of a franchise and a company that prides itself on creating very challenging products, the one bit of mercy that Elden Ring does that nobody would expect about, it doesn't have ice physics. You're actually walking normally on ice. Amazing.
I guess that's
that's why it won Game of the Year.
I guess they thought that it was
would have been a bit too dickish. You already had to fight a fucking dragon on top of that, so.
Yeah, but it's like no ice physics. It's revolutionary.
Honestly, I do wonder if at this point in the game industry, ice physics were considered revolutionary.
We don't know, Java. Again, for example, ice physics is basically the bane of my existence when it comes to Crash 2, because.
Oh God, yes. Those ice physics are terrible.
The second ice themed level in Crash 2 is just a nightmare because of that.
Oh, no,
a lot of people agree that even with Crash,
because my buddy Commander Proton found a way to cheese that level, and I screamed.
Okay, Gio, trust me, you're far from alone. A lot of people
Obviously.
agree that the ice physics in Crash 2, both original and especially in the remake, are not good.
Although, as I mentioned on the SSMB, Pistol in some way takes the cake for the most bullshit level when it comes to getting the gem.
A fitting name for that level.
No, remember, Jova, the most egregious Crash level name ever is for the GBA game with Snow Job.
Yep. I just
yes, and yet it's cold hard Crash that pretty much everyone hates in regards to getting the gems for 100% completion. Because Jesus Christ, that level.
In terms of beating the game, I don't really just beating it like start to end. I don't really think too much of the rocket jetpack levels.
Those have their own issues too.
Yeah, I posted on the Warzone server. There you go.
Again, the name Cold Hard Crash, though.
That being said,
does that imply that? Go on, Pedro.
That being said, to follow up on what Joe was saying earlier, I also would really like the Kremlings to be back in a Donkey Kong game, because for as much as I love Returns and Tropical Freeze, the new enemies are just so
I think
boring.
the Snowmads were a step in the right direction, but they're better off as a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it like this. I can get occasionally taking a break from the Kremlings, but we don't need to get rid of them.
Also, they had some bizarre aesthetics because, for some of the bosses, like the seal and the owl, they managed to fit in with the cartoony aesthetics.
Yeah.
But then you have the polar bear right before the Little Snowman. It's just a realistic-looking polar bear.
As far as I'm concerned, King K. Rool should be the Bowser to Donkey Kong's Mario, honestly.
I mean, to be fair, people are tired of Mario always having Bowser as the antagonist.
Yeah, but here's the big difference, that unlike Bowser and Mario, Donkey Kong and King K. Rool have much more defined characters and dialogue, and are far more fun to be around. So it's much harder for people to get tired of them, I will argue.
Although, to be fair, Donkey Kong hasn't had nearly as much output as Mario, so I'm not sure we have the same ratio. Also, to be extra fair, I'd argue that DK and King K. Rool's big personalities didn't really come to surface until DK64. Not to say that they didn't have characteristics in the games beforehand, but it was pretty much with DK64 when we really got the menacing King K. Rool to, holy cow, the extent he went in that game.
The final boss.
K. Rool was just generic in the original.
True, but that final boss of 64 is so hilarious, though.
Yeah, no.
It's too bad that you have to play through 64.
Again.
Well, I'm fine with that,
Pedro,
so...
Yeah.
Go on.
Anyway, again, Pedro, though that's my point. He definitely got his best personality by the time of 64. It wasn't always there, but, by the time it did come, yes, he was great in that.
I'll argue...
No,
I didn't mind the pirate.
Yeah, I was about to mention that, yeah.
DKC through. the cruel time phase of DKC3, however, I do agree that could have been skipped.
Oh yeah.
I legit wonder if he was just going even more insane than usual.
Okay,
when he
the
went with
official
the
story reasons,
Cable and
because
stuff.
I've seen recently, a video that talks about, even stuff like the venues and everything, but the official reasoning, quote unquote, oh Jesus, why K. Rool assumes that persona is back, because after DKC3 gets ousted as the leader of the Kremlings, so he literally fakes being a scientist and invents the robot of chaos in order to take control again from the shadows.
You know, the weird thing, honestly, is well, you'd think that DK1 would have actually been the one where he went with the pirate motif, given how the final level is on the pirate ship. Yet, oddly enough, when he takes up the pirate guys, the final level is actually in an evil castle, which you think would be more fitting for his evil scientist shtick in the game after, so...
Rare is, you should know by now, Jova, that Rare is known for trolling people, so...
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if that was the reasoning. No, but yeah, no.
Humor.
Actually, did they ever explain why he was taking up the pirate guys in DK2? I mean, don't get me wrong, it was
if
cool.
I recall correctly, I forgot if it happens at the end of DK1 or DK2, but basically, because of that, the confrontation between the Kongs and the Kremlings, Crocodile Island gets blown up. That's also why, by the time of 64, K. Rool existed a battleship instead of a proper island.
And why he wants to blow up the island instead.
Yeah.
Bro just wanted bananas.
Oh, by the way, yeah, this bit here, this bit here, that's what the Mario movie's referencing. There you go.
Coolio.
There we go.
Speaking of which, we recently got a poster of the Mario movie. It looks neat.
Also, Seth Rogen's clip voicing DK Kong.
In hindsight, they should have gotten Frank Welker to voice Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
You hear Donkey Kong's game voice. It just sounds like...
honestly, I simultaneously love and hate how much Seth Rogen fits as Donkey Kong going off of that one clip.
Yeah.
Dude.
You just know that's what DK's gonna be remembered for a while.
I think the DK64 voice clips still managed to hold up.
Graham Kirkhope will always be my Donkey Kong.
I
don't care what anybody says. Graham Kirkhope will always be my Donkey Kong.
That was Graham Kirkhope voicing him.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. But that will always be DK's voice to me.
Especially because a lot of times I feel before he pulls out his coconut gun.
Okay.
The thing is, he recorded lines for DK and Melee, but they were like, no, we're gonna make it realistic. And
then he stuck with that ever since.
I don't know why.
Even King K. Rool later got realistic crocodile noises when they finally added him in Ultimate.
I guess it might as well be consistent. Does Ridley even have noises?
Bowser Jr. sounds
Hold on, let's go on this.
When did Melee come out?
2001.
2001. Oh, it was a bit later than that.
Yes, 2001.
It was a launch game for the GameCube.
So Rare was still with Nintendo. So
well, they were still technically with them, but they were basically on the way out at that point.
Okay, Rare technically were never owned by Nintendo. We need to remember.
No. What happened was Nintendo owned 50%. And the Stamper Brothers were originally hoping that Nintendo would buy the other 50%, but it chose not to, so they decided to just, get Microsoft to do it. Yeah.
I know that they may never admit it, but I wonder, do you ever think that sometimes Nintendo regrets not buying Rare?
We might never know.
Probably not, Jova, in hindsight, because Rare was already bleeding talent by that point, which is why they started going downhill when they started making games for Xbox.
You know how some people go, oh, if Nintendo had bought Rare, Rare would be in a much better state. And you know what? Maybe that is the case.
And again, Jova, for a reasoning like that, usually the way you say in my country to demonstrate how much, it's just, just guessing and nothing more, and again, just guessing and nothing more. He's like, yes, and if my grandpa had 5 balls, it would be a pinball machine.
So what you're saying, Teo, is that your grandpa is quote unquote sweating pinballs. If you know what that is,
Hilarious.
if you know what that is, that's a. I'm not kidding you. That's a line from Life is Strange. I'm not kidding you. Basically, to give you an idea, like there's a girl in the school who's very nervous. The principal sees her, and his reaction is, and I'm quoting here, "You're sweating pinballs. Are you okay? Sweating pinballs. Who says that?"
Square Enix approved this franchise.
Wait, no. You're wondering why Square Enix of all companies okayed a script with weird and hokey dialogue? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Square Enix. But let's not forget, a lot of their scripts do occasionally go to some weird places.
Not to mention,
okay, monetarily, it still paid off in the end.
if it helps you, Dej.
Life is Strange 2, but
it helps. If it helps you, Dej. Remember, like the idea was that that game was produced with a lower budget, so it's not like it was a big financial risk for them.
There's been a lot of study into the success of Life is Strange, and a lot of it does come down to that game came out at the right moment. It was the right amount of relatable, essentially, to the point where, I can get why it spoke to some people. Granted, nowadays a lot of people do look back on it with kind of a bit of a, yeah, that was kind of the style of the time. But trust me, one game that was not like that at release was Life is Strange 2. I have not seen or played that game. I have seen it in action.
But he knows the reputation.
Wow.
Because I've told him.
Cheap leaving that pawns.
Let me put it this way. For those who don't know. Do you agree that racism is bad? Do you do? In that case, you have nothing to gain. In that case, you have nothing to gain from playing that game, because I'm not kidding you. That's all that game has to say. Racism is bad. Now, unlike something like Zootopia, it doesn't actually reflect on why people feel this way, why it's wrong that people feel this way, and makes an effort to educate. No, all it does is have violent racist morons acting violently racist throughout the entire game. That's all it is.
Also, it's better to specify, Pedro, racism in America specifically.
Yeah. As told to get this, Dej. A commentary on American racial relationships as told by French people.
Oh God! You know what's sad, honestly?
Wait. Was David Cage involved in it?
No. It's not Quantic Dream. Oh, you have the choice to become human for that, Dej. Go on.
But that's
Jova.
the thing, though. If I had a nickel for every time French people have tried to discuss political issues in America, okay, I would have more than 2 nickels, but when it comes to the big story-related bouts, yeah, 2, but it's weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot. Ubisoft tries to do this, like, with every Far Cry game or something, but Jesus Christ, man.
I think Adam from YMS put it best in his playthrough. This is Trump land, boy.
Let me just put it like this with Life is Strange. For all the problems the first game and Before the Storm had, those were more self-contained in a sense, like they were on their own narrative. And mind you, they still have issues that, again, people now call them out for today, but you can at least get why they were successful. Life is Strange 2, I have seen non-spoilery reviews, and oh god, I can tell why that game failed. Like,
everything is political, Jova.
Here's the thing, Dej. It failed so bad that Square pretty much pulled the team that created the franchise off of it and gave the reins to the backup team that it made Before the Storm. And keep in mind, up until Life is Strange 2 came about, Before the Storm was the most ridiculed thing in the Life is Strange franchise. So imagine being so bad that your boss decides to fire you and then give your project to the most ridiculed team before that point. That's how bad Life is Strange 2 was apparently taken.
About what Pedro said, okay, a lot of things are kind of political even by default. I mean, it's like complaining. In a lot of cases, it's like complaining that Metal Gear is.
No. See, the thing is, the problem is that you don't understand the context of that line. See, the way the game uses that line is because basically what happens is they meet this guy who's a blogger who's constantly trying to raise awareness for minorities and LGBT people and shit like that, right? And then the protagonist goes, "Wow, so you're all like political and stuff." And the guy literally replies with, "Everything is political, Sean." Like, the problem is not so much that things are political. The problem is that you can tell the writers are using that line as a self-justification for why they keep constantly throwing in anti-Trump scenes. You know.
Let me put it like this.
It's more like the way you say things rather than the argument in itself.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this. The whole a creator tries to put their political messages in their work is a tale as old as time. Like, we have seen it way back.
Again,
like,
guys,
honestly,
you have yet to experience the reading political comprehension that is being written by Azumi.
Remember, one of the most beloved superheroes of all time had his first issue cover him punching Hitler. Media has been political since the dawn of times.
here's the thing, though. There is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And sometimes, if you do it the wrong way, it just comes off as you trying to voice your message that's as paper thin as the paper you're writing it on.
All right.
Regardless, though, Mario. Yeah.
See ya.
It's political, see ya.